Again, welcome everybody who is joining us, all the attendees in the gallery. Thank you for joining us today for the informational session on TEDS's Master of Arts in Mental Health Counseling. I'm very excited about this presentation today. It's a very relevant program, and one that the world around us is changing on a regular basis. So I'm really excited to introduce you to kind of some special things that are happening right now. I cannot have two better faculty members to introduce you to. And we've got a few very excellent students as well who will kind of share more about their experience. First, just a couple housekeeping items. This is a webinar, so if you're wondering, hey, where am I on the screen right now? You can see and hear the presenters, but we cannot see and hear you. That means that we do want you to interact with us. You can do that using the Q&A feature in Zoom or the chat feature in Zoom. I'm going to be monitoring those throughout. So we do encourage you to use those. Ask your questions in real time. We might answer those questions right away if it's relevant to what's being shared, or we might wait till the end until a Q&A time happens. But we do encourage you to participate with us. And you can also submit questions afterwards as well via direct email. Again, everybody will receive this recording today. We'll circulate that, but otherwise we're happy that you're here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Steve Grego. He is kind of going to lead the discussion today. He's the chair of the counseling department, and he is a professor of counseling. So Dr. Grego, why don't you take it away?
Well, thanks so much, Ryan. And I am very pleased to be here, to be speaking to anyone who's interested in joining us in our community here at TEDS, particularly to study mental health counseling. And if you're understudied under your degree, I think some of what we will say will be applicable to any degree at TEDS, but we really want to zero our attention and during this webinar to our mental health counseling degree. And one of the things I'm excited about in this type of format is that I get to introduce you to some people who are experiencing it firsthand and doing the work, and you get to hear from them and what it's been like for them to join in this learning community to pursue their professional and ministry goals. Let me introduce you to who's here. My close colleague, Dr. Julie Rousseau, is the program director for both our MA in mental health counseling and MA in chaplaincy and ministry care. She's also an assistant professor of counseling. So you will likely have contact with her, and I'll give her a chance to say more about her interest in TEDS and interview some of our panelists in just a moment. Angela Canton is an alum of the program, not too long ago, a couple years ago, and is now active in practice at Awakenings here in the Illinois area. Not only does she have her MA in mental health counseling from TEDS, but she had an RN and work experience in that field of nursing before coming to TEDS. So I'm very pleased that she's able to join us and share some of her experience. Sarah Hines is a current student, soon to be hitting the field in her fieldwork. That's pretty exciting to be at that stage. And Sabu George comes with some career experience behind him, but is also very close to field work and moving out into the field. So they're both candidates in the MA in mental health counseling program. That said, I don't want to talk too long, but I do want to give you a couple highlights about what excites me and what sets our program apart. I think that will set the foundation in place that others can refer to. You know, doing a mental health counseling degree, there are plenty of programs. I probably shouldn't say that, but there are plenty of programs around the country where you can pursue that particular degree. There are a few that are placed within a strong evangelical seminary. And that's one of the things that sets us apart. We have a ministry orientation to our professional training. And that's something that we see in the students who come to us. That colors the cohort and the interaction and makes learning fun and exciting because they come with prior ministry experience and a ministry heart. And then we get a chance to nurture that and to strengthen that and to increase their, what we call their theological imagination that they will bring into their professional practice. So I think that's something that sets our TEDS mental health counseling degree apart. Another thing I'd mention is that you get to do some theology or biblical study courses directly with faculty who are experts in those fields. The counseling faculty could teach some of that material, but we put you directly with our theologians and biblical scholars to take those courses, and alongside MDiv students and other ministry degree students. That's a very strengthening and sharpening experience, and I think that's a distinctive of our program. Uh, Another distinctive is that there's the opportunity to add additional coursework, maybe in bioethics or missions or more theology or biblical studies. It's amazingly simple to add a second degree in theological studies to your mental health counseling degree, and you walk away with quite a good background in both theology and in counseling for your future career. I think the last thing that I'd say is that we are a CACREP accredited program. That means we have met or exceeded all of the professional standards that's required of a mental health program such as ours. We're pleased that we were recognized and achieved that standard. We met all the benchmarks to be able to do that. But to place that within the seminary that we're in, a first-class evangelical seminary, I think sets us apart. Now, the easy answer to the question of what I'm excited about TEDS is the learning community. I enjoy my faculty colleagues. I enjoy rubbing shoulders and exchanging ideas and exchanging papers with my faculty colleagues. But that learning community is also the students, and that's why I'm pleased to just sort of hear from them today and give them a chance to speak. If I am excited about something in the classroom, it's not just about what I prepared, it's about the way in which we all interact around that material and make it come alive. So let me turn it over to Dr. Rousseau, who will tell a little bit about what she's excited about at TEDS, and then bring our panelists into the conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Grego and Ryan. It's wonderful to be here today. What I enjoy most about teaching at TEDS is very similar to what Dr. Grego said. It's the feeling of community within our department. Counseling is fundamentally about being in relationship, and the students who come to our program recognize and value this aspect of our created being. So, the faculty member, I have the opportunity to watch meaningful relationships develop within our student group and also between our students and our faculty. What I enjoy most about my specific roles within the department is that I have the privilege of working with students from beginning to end, and I often stay in contact with them after they complete the program. As program director, I work with the admissions department during the application process, and I am often the first counseling department contact for a student. This is really a wonderful way to be introduced to students and to help guide them as they're starting out. As a faculty member, I have an opportunity to experience students in the classroom. Each fall, I teach a course in addictions counseling, and in the spring, I teach a class in multicultural issues and counseling. As clinical coordinator, I work with our students as they make decisions about field work, choosing where to do their practicum and their internship. It really is a blessing to see how God works in the initial calling of our students to the university and our program, how he continues their work during their time with us, and then how he works through them as they enter the field and work as professional mental health care providers. As we get to know our students, it is interesting to hear their stories, to learn about God's call on their life, why they chose TEDS as part of the response to that call. So today, we're fortunate to have two current students and an alum with us. Each of them has brought unique gifts and unique life experiences to the program. So I'd like to start with Sabu. Sabu, God has led you through an interesting journey of professional work and academic training. And I wonder if you would share with us some of the reasons that you chose the MA in mental health counseling at TEDS.
Thanks, Dr. Russo. Why did I choose TEDS? A lot of reasons. TEDS is just a well-respected, well-known institution. I was born in India. I remember hearing about Trinity, TEDS way back, right? Lived in New York for a good amount of time, and there was TEDS Trinity showing up again, right? And hey, did you check out this person, that person? Guess where they're educated? So It was something that I would always hear about. And, when we had the opportunity to move here to Illinois, I knew it was a well-respected institution, read a little bit about the faculty. I was intrigued. And really, one thing that really mattered to me was I wanted to go to an institution that aligned with my faith beliefs, and to be able to find all of that. And um, I I just like asking around. So I had a few counselor friends, and I asked them, I said, hey, by the way, I'm thinking about these different schools. By the way, those folks did not go to Trinity. And they're like, no, go there, go there, go there. So they didn't hesitate. And I said, okay. It was nice to hear some trusted voices echoing that as well. And the other thing is K-Crab accreditation was big for me, because I don't know if I really don't see myself in Illinois. I don't know where I see myself. So it's nice to have that flexibility and freedom to say, okay, institution that's accredited aligns with me in many ways, and I don't have to, sort of go back and do some coursework somewhere else. So that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Thank you, Sabu. Sarah, you left sunny Southern California for the more diverse weather conditions of this area. What led you to the decision to study mental health counseling at TEDS?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Russo. So I was living in LA as a full-time filmmaker and commercial producer, and knew that I was being called to a vocational shift. I got my major in psychology, so I always knew that I was going to be taking a journey to mental health counseling. It was more of a question of when. My dad also got his MDiv at Trinity about 32 years ago. And so we've had in our family that type of biblical literacy. So he was a pastor for quite a few years, and the way that he shepherded our family and raised us was with quite a bit of theological knowledge. So I already kind of had that in my back pocket, and it was a value of mine. So when I started looking for schools where I could go, I could have gone to a school in California. That's where I already lived. I started looking all over the country at K-CRAP accredited programs. But what drew me specifically to move all the way across the country for Trinity's mental health counseling program is that it had two things. And Dr. Grego and Sabu have already said this, but it is the distinguishing factor, which is that the program is nestled under the Divinity School. So what you get is you get the pedigree of a seminary that is known internationally, recognized internationally, and it had a theological backbone to it. The program did. So it was that, on top of the fact that it is a school that values academic rigor, and it is an accredited program. So it's kind of like you're getting the best of both worlds.
Thank you, Sarah. Angela, you have completed the program. Congratulations. You're working in the field. Would you share with us how you chose to come to Trinity and study mental health counseling?
Sure. How did I come to study mental health counseling at TEDS? I originally started my journey at TEDS about 10 years ago. I did quite a bit of theological work, and graduated in 2020 with both the mental health counseling degree and the theological studies. I was able to complete that degree my second time around, which was wonderful. But I think originally when I talked to Dr. Rousseau and met her for the first time, which was wonderful, she's a great first contact, I realized that if I'm going to go into this kind of vulnerable place of learning so many things about psychology and how to be a counselor, for me, it was important to have the security of knowing the teaching was going to be something that aligned with my values, my biblical values, and to explore things and with that safety felt so great. And the thing that occurred to me was, how do I integrate both psychology and my faith, and even the theology that I'd studied and think about? What does that even look like? And I I remember the first time I met Dr. Rousseau, she talked about how you, generally speaking, how you invite the Holy Spirit into your sessions, and kind of understanding that thought and that concept of just bringing him into the room. I was intrigued. How does that work? What does that look like? And so, and again, like, the program helped because I wasn't disappointed. And I just think that having both the, cake wrap is important. That's, I'm not going to lie about that, but also having that, just walking us through how to, almost every single class, how to integrate, and even grow in our faith and stretch our faith, to be able to reach people who are really hurting, really hurting. So that's why I chose to go to TEDS.
Thanks, Angela. I'd like to follow up just for a moment with you, Angela, since you have graduated and you're now working in the field, and ask you, as you practice the profession now, how do you feel that you were formed through our program at TEDS to do the work that you're doing?
Yeah, as I practice and think about how did TEDS shape me and help form me to do the work that I'm doing, I would say the thing that I am most grateful for is the just comprehensive nature of the program. As someone who is practicing, we come across quite a bit of different diagnoses and different issues and different things that come up, ethical issues. It's just all over. These things pop out of nowhere. And I feel as if the program really helped prepare us. I mean, we still have to, as practitioners, learn and grow and get supervision and ask questions. However, I feel as if it's a good preparation. It's very thorough. With all the credit hours and all the work that we do, it's really worth it, because stepping into some places that may be still yet uncomfortable, there were a lot of resources that I was thinking, okay, this is not something that's so unfamiliar. I have something to fall back on. I at least have a frame or a structure to be able to build on. And so I would say it's so formative. And then the other thing is kind of an experiential component. So the staff and the faculty, I should say, is really creative in helping you to imagine what counseling and practicing counseling looks like, and to help grow you as a tool. And I think the way that they go about that is very, very special. I've not been to counseling school anywhere else. However, I really think hats off to you all for just thinking through how to, and always refining how to help students to grow in such creative ways. And it oftentimes, even though it was a lot of work, oftentimes it can be a lot of fun to learn and grow. And doing that in a community, absolutely, is just fabulous.
Thank you, Angela. Sabu, you came into our program with an MDiv already. Could you share with us some of the ways where you have are ways that you have continued to be formed through your time in the program?
Sure. Yeah. This program has been formative for me. Really, when I kind of trace back, I asked a lot of why growing up. I'm Indian. I'm from an Indian culture. Why is really discouraged, so a lot of whys. My parents might have called me a wise guy instead of a why guy. So I was working in corporate America, and I really felt this urge to do something. And the MDiv I knew would provide the theological foundation that I really needed to go into the helping field. And really coming into this program, I feel like that why within me has really been tapped even more. All of the courses that I take force me to ask why. why, right? So I'd say, how am I being formed? One of the ways is I think my convictions are becoming stronger or looser depending on what's happening. Some things I held on to, like this, give you a background. I was saved in a Pentecostal church, right? And so that, along with the fact that I currently attend a non-denominational church, there's all these things that are happening. So depending on how I'm navigating through certain things, I'm realizing you never let go of certain things. So those convictions are being formed in such a way where foundationally I know these things are necessary in order for God to really build on top of what really has to be laid as the groundwork, right? Then really the other thing is even preferences. I think as a family, we talk a lot about what's life going to look like after. So what are we going to do as a family? What kind of church are we going to attend? What are some things that are must-haves? These are all things that are happening here as a result of the discussions, the things in the program. So, I'll tell my wife, hey, by the way, look, I learned this. And she's like, well, what does that have to do with this, right? And so it starts a dialogue, it starts a conversation. And, we'll say, well, here's where we are right now. Here's what things look like. But based on what God is doing within each of us, what does life look like? What's pain look like? How are we going to do this? And really the other component for me is the formation groups that are involved as part of the program have been transformational in a major way. I went through a lot of pain, a lot of stuff, and I didn't grow up in a culture where that was to be shared openly, and especially not with women. So one of the beautiful things about the formation groups for me has been to be able to sit next to other men, other women, and share openly and really talk through some of that pain. And I've shared before, but it's been different to be able to pray with men and women together about a specific pain, and people actually reciprocating and go, hey, so if that happened and that's a pain you're dealing with, what are some areas that could be impacted or that you might have neglected as a result? So again, kind of going back to the convictions, going back to who I am, where God's leading me, I think the program has really played a pivotal role in me thinking about that, not just my past, but my current, present, and also how that's going to look like in the future.
Thank you, Sabu. Sarah, you came to our program with clear expectations. You've made it through most of the coursework and you're into your practicum now. And I know that you're also involved in other areas of campus life. Could you share with us how you've been formed over your journey for the past couple of years?
Yeah, I was thinking about this as you were asking the other students and Angela. And it's funny because about into the program, I started asking myself, did I come here to get my master's in counseling, or was I called here to heal and nourish my own soul? And the answer is yes. Being in this program is, I don't think I'm overselling it to say that it's profound in the way that it forms you as a person. I feel like, we come in thinking we're getting a professional degree, and you are a highly professional degree that prepares you for the working world. But there is also a huge component to it that is dealing with your own stuff. When you're taking coursework in career, addiction, human sexuality, assessments, and administering assessments on yourself, learning what does it mean to be human, what does it mean to be healthy. You're asking those questions about yourself so that you can deal with your things so that you can go heal others. So, I think that that's been a huge part of it, is just the personal transformation, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, family of origin. It's every aspect of yourself. And sometimes it's hard. It's not it's not easy. You're asking a lot of hard questions because you're going into a field with people asking a lot of hard questions. And then there's also just the community life. I mean, there's something about when I first came here to take a tour, there's something about just being on campus. There is I'm trying to think of the right word, but it's almost just like you can feel the Holy Spirit's presence here. Like you can feel the work that's going on. And it's almost an intangible. And then on top of that, the involvement of the faculty and just the different relationships that you build all adds to the experience. And I'm still in the midst of it, but it's I think that's a little bit about what I'd say about it.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Ryan, or for Dr. Grego to follow up if he has any comments.
No, I appreciate the answers. Thank you so much, each of you, for sharing your formative experience. I think I just wanted to give just a little word of credit. We are focused on choosing TEDS and what makes our mental health program distinctive. But in fact, we have been really blessed as an institution and as a learning community by the surrounding clinical community and ministry community that make all of the fieldwork opportunities possible. Supervisors, having been a program that's been around here for a long time, we have many supervisors who supervise our students who were also alum of our program. And they have that same appreciation for some of the values that we hold and provide a good job doing supervision. So that's not us directly per se, it's the network that surrounds us. The guest speakers that come in to share with us or take our students on in the internships. So I just want to give a little bit of credit to those sources as well. Ryan, do we have any questions to deal with that you'd like us to kick around?
Yeah, we don't have any questions from the viewing audience yet, so I encourage you to engage with us in the Q&A or the chat. I've got both of those open on my screen, so we'd like to make sure that you get what you're looking for today. But I do have a couple of questions that were submitted ahead of time, so I'll prime the well with those questions. One of them is probably easily answerable by Dr. Grego or Dr. Rousseau, but a student is wondering what's the best way to prepare for the program? And I believe what they're talking about specifically is prerequisites, but how can a student prepare for the mental health counseling program through prerequisites or any other preparation or coursework?
Thanks. That's a great question. How to prepare for the program, both in terms of its academic preparation, and also I'm going to focus on the self. Let's start with the easy, and that's what courses to take. You don't need a undergraduate degree in psychology. It might help, anything in the social sciences, but because counseling is a field that seems to attract people who through other career experiences learn what's most vital and important, when they feel most alive is when they're interacting with others. And so they may switch over from accounting or from chemistry or science, a number of professions. And so the preparation isn't just the academic preparation. You do need a statistics course along the way. You need a general psychology course, a course in either developmental psychology or psychopathology. And we'll work with you on those prerequisites. But those are the general categories that you need to hit. Beyond the academic preparation, you can always be preparing yourself. Remember, a seminary is designed to take people who have a heart for ministry and make them leaders in their ministry setting. So what's the preparation for that? Be involved in your church, be involved in your ministry. Let the Lord continue to do that work of restoration in your own heart. And notice along the way how he's using other people, how he's working that through his word, how he's doing that by his spirit, because those things you learn through those experiences prepare you to be the kind of people helper that's really going to engage with others. Beneath all of the techniques and ideas and knowledge and skills that we try to put into a program like this to make you aware of, the main thrust is that the self is really one of the key clinical tools that you're going to bring into the therapeutic encounter. You, as you are ready and prepared to relate, embrace, welcome, extend hospitality to the other. So any work that you're doing to make yourself more open, more vulnerable, more transparent, more prepared to listen to feedback from others and to benefit from that feedback, not feeling the tension in your neck and getting all defensive and saying, well, why did they say that about me? But saying, that's curious. That's not the way I see myself. I wonder what I can learn from that and what I can do with that. And once you develop that openness and that vulnerability, you're ready for a counseling program like this one.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Grego. And I just want to affirm that we look at more than just the transcript for every applicant to this program. So speaking from the admissions office, we loop in Dr. Russo and Dr. Grego on every applicant. So we're interested in you as a person. I encourage you to apply. If you haven't applied and you're considering applying for any time in the next 12 months, we encourage you to do that. And it's extremely easy to find our application for admission, and it's free to fill out. So even if you want to get to the point where you want to know, hey, do I have any deficiencies, or am I ready, or what should I be thinking about? It's not too early to have a conversation, and there's no expense that you'll incur. We did have a question that I think that transitions into another question that we had about scholarships. A student wanted to know if we have scholarships for this program, and I'll field that one. The short answer is yes. And the long answer is we do have a scholarship application. There's more than 20 different scholarships that TEDS students can qualify for. And some of them are program specific or depend if you're full-time or part-time, or if you are a member of an affinity group. So a little bit more difficult to find on our website, but we do have a scholarship application. We encourage every TEDS applicant to fill that out. If you're having trouble finding that, send me an email, please. It is, the email address is gradadmissions@TEDS.tiu.edu. I think TEDS would work as well, but gradadmissions, plural, at tiu.edu, and we can help you find what you're looking for. We do have a question. We have a few questions actually from one of our attendees here. So I'm not going to direct these questions toward any individual, but anybody can speak up on this. How easy is it to balance family life and studying TEDS? That's a great question. Another question is, do most students live on site or in their own accommodation? And if nobody answers that one, I will, but I don't have to. And are there churches in the area? Maybe someone can speak about that.
I guess I can talk about the first question. It's a rigorous program. However, I think as far as I'm aware, nothing's changed with this. You can do it, it's flexible. So a lot of programs I think have a cohort system, and if that's changed, I'm not aware of it, but you can make quite a few decisions. There are some things that you might be pressed, classes that you might be pressed to take, but you can make quite a few decisions to figure out how you can make it through the program and keep that work-life balance. I personally worked as a nurse during graduate school, and I think it was difficult at times, but I think having the program and the investment of us as tools, that emphasis helped me to think through, like, what does self-care look like? Even as I'm studying, it's a good time to start practicing the self-care of setting boundaries of what I kind of take on myself. And so it's helpful to have that kind of support, and it's helpful to have that kind of encouragement, which in many ways, and especially the community, helped to make it through the rigor and the time commitment.
I'll answer the question about the accommodations, but I'm going to call on somebody else to answer questions about churches. I would say this is an on-campus program. It's not an online program. So we do have an expectation that students are living near campus or on campus. We do have accommodations on campus. We have dormitory style living, which is kind of like a studio apartment, which is available. We have also 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom apartments on campus. Those are available as well. So it depends on the size of your family and what your needs are. We do have those. It's probably not that much more expensive to live on campus. We have a fantastic cafeteria on campus as well, which is great for families. We have playgrounds on campus. So if you have kids, this is a nice place. Deerfield, Illinois is the #2 safest college town in the entire country. It's a great place to bring your family. And it's not required to live on campus. There are, I would say there's close to 1 million people living within a 25, even less, maybe a 15-mile radius of campus. There's lots of options for apartments and commuting. And obviously where you live will have an impact on your family life and studying TEDS. We have workout facilities on campus. And if that's important to you and you like to have your family be able to have meals at a very affordable price in our cafeteria, that might be something you want to consider. But there's no shortage of housing options within a few minutes of campus. And then obviously we have accommodations on campus as well. We do have information about this on our website in terms of what housing is available, square footage. You can kind of see pictures of the different kinds of apartments that we have on campus. Anybody familiar with churches in the area? Or anybody want to expound on anything I just mentioned?
I'll transition into the church one, but I just want to expound on living, near campus or around campus. Obviously, as a faculty, I like to have folks close by, but our schedule is essentially a block schedule where you can put 2 or 3 courses together, and we've intentionally placed them in the schedule so that this kind of block planning is easily done, so you could attend 1 or 2 days a week and move along through your program. You don't have to picture attending classes 5 days a week. Most students are dedicating 2 days a week to academic work. Some semesters may be a third, or you may pick up a summer course in order to keep to the days of the week that you want to have. So there's a way then to still keep some work life and family life while you're doing the program. And I think Angela stated it well. Because we don't use a systematic cohort, we will help you to get to know the peers that you're working with, but we don't force you to move through with that cohort. If you need to step out for 6 months, you can come back in, or if you need to take a lighter semester, that's done at your pace. And we offer the courses enough that you'll be able to still stay on track. Churches in the area, we of course have produced a number of pastors who go out and work in local churches in this area. So there are a number of churches affiliated with the Evangelical Free Church of America, which we are affiliated with. But when you get to know our student body, we are not just an E-Free school. E-Free Church considers it its love gift, the seminary, the love gift to the world. And so many denominations are referenced. And our network of students will probably be happy to take you to some of the churches that they're involved with in the area. We have some that are quite close to campus where our students are involved. And then you have the entire Chicago area. And so you can pick up churches with all different ethnic varieties and diversity. So that's a really big plus to the Chicago area that we couldn't have planned if God hadn't done it, but it's certainly available here in the community.
Thank you, Dr. Grego. Another question was asked ahead of time by a pastor. You mentioned the EFCA church. So a pastor of the EFCA church in Minnesota submitted a question, and it is so hard to predict the future. So I'm really just curious in your thoughts, Dr. Grego and Dr. Rousseau. This is a campus-based program in person on campus. During COVID, we've had to flex and offer some courses synchronously and remotely online. Do you have any insight into what the future might look like? Could a student take some of this program from a distance, or is it just too early to tell that yet?
Certainly at present, the student can take these courses from a distance. It's hard to make a commitment to what that's going to look like. And that's going to continue into the 2021-22 academic year, that there'll be the opportunity to take both synchronous online or hybrid online courses. Not every one of our courses, but a sizable number of our courses will be in that format in the foreseeable future. We're still working through. We're a K-Corp accredited program, which means we proposed a certain program and plan and a way of doing our curricular and co-curricular activities. And had that approved, if we're going to make a major transition to another type of delivery system, we have to walk the steps and look at how our curriculum would work. I would say for the student who from a distance wants to try us out, that could certainly be done, and you could chip away and reduce the number of semesters you wanted to be in the area. I could say more, but I'd probably be going out a little bit further on the ledge, and I'd rather stay safely on this side before I commit us too far.
Completely understandable. Thanks, Dr. Grego, for that insight. Appreciate it. We don't have any more questions, so I just wanted to summarize something that was said today in case anybody happened to join a little bit late and missed Dr. Grego's opening introduction to the program. Wanted to reiterate something, and then I'd just like to open up the floor. If anybody has any closing remarks, we'll do that as well. But a couple of differentiators about this program from other schools. This is a professional program which is available around the country, but this is one of a few that's available within a divinity school, within a seminary setting. And that's very helpful because if you're interested in pursuing Jesus Christ with your heart and with your mind, plus you want to receive all of the tools that you might need to minister to a world that is hurting and in crisis right now, this might be the right school for you. It's a place where you can be healed, and it's a place where you can help heal others around you, which is just a tremendous opportunity. Even more differentiating is this program is in Chicago's northern suburbs, and what a great opportunity to get plugged into churches. And there are countless ministry and counseling opportunities very close to campus. There are probably some other programs that don't have quite the same access that TEDS does here. It's got a great track record. As our students have mentioned, it's why they chose this place. A great, not just national reputation, but international reputation for learning and serving the Lord Jesus Christ and producing the best of the best academic and prepared minds to go out there and make a real difference in the world. This program is fully accredited. You won't find a better program out there. So locationally, ministerially, and professionally, this is a fantastic opportunity for you. And I really encourage you to take the first step if you haven't yet done so. I'll repeat, to take the first step, if you haven't, you can reach out in an email to gradadmissions@tiu.edu. That being said, anybody else have any closing remarks before we end the conversation today?
I'll take the opportunity to thank the participants today, because if I can think of a good reason to attend TEDS, it would be Sarah, Sabu, and Angela, and they've spoken pretty clearly today. I enjoy learning from them, and I think that's a way to evaluate, listen to these students, and see if these are the kinds of folks that you would like to add your voice to. I think that's what makes the program exciting. Thanks so much to each of you for participating today.
I will echo that. Thank you to Sabu, Sarah, and Angela. It was nice to see you all here today. And Ryan, thank you for putting this together. And I would like to make myself available for any follow-up questions. Ryan, feel free to give participants my email address. I can certainly respond to them via email. I'd be happy to set up a Zoom meeting to answer any questions that come up along the way.
Thank you. When we receive the recording, I'll send the recording out to those who registered for this webinar, and I'll include your email, Dr. Russo. Thank you for the invitation to do so. Well, thank you everybody for attending. Again, thank you panelists. Thank you, Dr. Grego, Dr. Russo, for introducing yourselves and your program to our students. And we hope to get you in contact with those students as soon as possible. Have a blessed day. Thanks everyone for helping us out. And thank you those who attended. Let this be the beginning of the conversation.